Hey guys, I was visiting my mom, my sister, when I recorded this at the beginning of the month. It is now July 17th. Video editing was very hard. You'll see that I have a cast. That will be a big part of talking about June. Thank you for being here first off. Second off, I'm sorry for the video you were about to watch. It is recorded quietly. Like, I am very quiet while I talk during it lots of the time. And also, my hair is a fucking mess. I was a fucking train wreck when I had this cast on. Shit was so hard to do anything. I was just trying my best. But I was in a rough state during the recording of this video. So, just wanted to, give a little warning there. But enjoy the video and enjoy me talking about June. Hello, people of YouTube. June is over now. It is July. And you know what that means? I'm gonna go through everything that happened in July. Do not attack my feet, please. There's a cat underneath me. There's two cats underneath my feet. One of them is a lunatic. And that lunatic will not stop attacking me. I am visiting my mom, my sister right now, so that's why the setup's a little different right now. My hair is crazy. We'll talk about why it's hard to take care of my hair now. But I'm excited to talk about June. June was a very eventful month, so let's run it. Number 16, broke my wrist. This was tragic. This did really suck. I've never broken anything before, and it was not fun. And I do not like having this cast on. I mean, it sucks. At least it's not like, at least I didn't break my arm, so at least I can bend it and stuff. But getting used to only using one arm has been interesting. And to be honest, the actual breaking of my wrist was really not as painful as I would think it would be. The actual moment where I broke my wrist, I didn't even really realize. I didn't really feel the break, I thought I hurt my leg because I was playing slow pitch and I was running to third base. If you don't know what slow pitch is, it's an easier version of softball. That's really the best way to describe it. But I was running to third base. My leg hit the base a little wonky and it completely locked up. My leg did really hurt after. But then I ended up just kind of not being able to stop and then just flew off the base and then landed on both of my wrists. I only broke the one though, so that's good. If I had two casts right now, I would be so much more miserable. And I have been quite miserable. Not as much right now, but especially when it happened, I was. But yeah, this has sucked. It really sucked the day of and the day after. I did have fun though when they gave me drugs to put me to sleep so they could fix my wrist. That was fun. Coming out of that was very fun. It was weird because I didn't even I've gone down under before for taking my wisdom teeth out. And that time was for a longer period of time. And that one definitely felt like I went to sleep and then woke up. This one completely felt like I was awake the entire time. If you attack my foot, I'm gonna lose my mind. Please stop attacking me. Okay, I think we're chill. Because I was only under for 10 or 15 minutes. I was not under for very long. And it didn't really feel like I was under, so there was a part of me too that was are they operating on me while I'm awake? And then I realized that there had been some time jump at some point, but it felt like my eyes were open the entire time. And then at some point I just kind of realized, oh wait, I have a cast on my arm now, so I'm good. Getting used to having the cast on has been interesting. It's really sucked having to try and not get it wet. That's really sucked, but it happens, I guess. But we only got maybe potentially less than 2 weeks. Potentially less than 2 weeks until I get it off. And that is very exciting. So, my hope is starting to be restored. And that's a beautiful thing. I'm also on a trip right now, so that's helping kill time. And yeah, it should be good when I get back. I'm excited. I'm excited to get this off. Really excited. So excited, to be honest. Number 15, CXOXO by Camila Cabello. This album, I listened to on my flight here, kind of is okay. It's actually a lot more boring than I was hoping. When I heard I Love It, or just Love It, I forget what it's called. But when I heard that song, I was I did not really like it. I actually thought some parts were okay. I thought the instrumental was really not that bad. There were some parts the verses and kind of the post-chorus thing's not that bad. Having played with Cardi on there was interesting, but it was at least an interesting song. And the chorus was also so interesting to me because I'm really hate the chorus. But also I kind of respect the I love it, 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 ooh. because it also feels kind of offbeat too, and I respect it, and even though I really despise it, but the rest of the album is like so unmemorable. Literally all of it. It's just Camila Cabello who like trying to do it just feels like she created a playlist of songs that she liked and then just tried to copy them. That's really all that it felt like. And I like Lil Nas X's feature a little bit. I think it's fun and a little silly. I will say, speaking of features, having 2 Drake features is crazy, especially right now. Like that, because obviously I would be shocked if they made these after all this has gone down, but so it was definitely made before. Like I imagine that they made, like the 2 of them made these songs way before any like the diss stuff happened. So it's just kind of, very unlucky, but also she is, still defending him, which I guess I would still expect. And also a bad look for Drake, because like Camila Cabello is like one of the most interesting cases of someone having a very racist past, where like she had to go to therapy for it. Like she was so racist that she had to go to therapy to stop being racist. And then Drake is like, oh yes, this is an artist who I really need to have songs come out with after like Kendrick Lamar saying not just Kendrick Lamar, but like so many people are accusing me of not actually being black and just like only using it for like aesthetic and like not really caring about the culture. But like it just is so funny to me that like it's just such a bad idea. And the song also, there's 2 of them and they perform badly. Like that's crazy that like Camila Cabello, who has some hits, and Drake, who has an insane amount of hits, couldn't like have a well-performing song together. And I listened to the song's not even a bad song. Like it's not even close to one of the worst songs on there. So I think it's crazy that like it's just such a strange choice. Everything about this album, to be honest, is kind of just like bad choices, I guess, or just kind of like, I don't know, it just leaves a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth, I feel, while you listen to it. Like it definitely is not the worst album ever, especially on like a technical level, but it does leave like a bad taste in my mouth. Like I don't really want to enjoy this album, even if I did. Like, I don't really want to. And that's always a bad start. If someone is going in being like, I don't really want to enjoy this album because, there's the multiple Drake features, who is one of the most hated people in music right now. Camila Cabello, very bad history, also feels very much like she's just trying to copy people like Charlie. Sorry, I didn't really hear that much Charlie. I see more Charlie in like the visual aesthetics of what she was doing, especially the way that she started doing like text and stuff like that. And she definitely was trying to capture kind of a similar thing to what makes Charlie successful. Oh, hello? Okay, I just got called. I forget where I was. So I'm just gonna move on from the Camila Cabello album now. So, number 14, Acolyte episodes 1 to 3. So I have watched up to episode 6 now, but that was in the past 2 days. So, and it's July 3rd, so that will still make it into June, sadly. But episodes 1 to 3 make it into June, and episode 1 and 2, I was like, oh, this show isn't that bad, especially compared to like the Boba Fett show, Mandalorian season 3, whatever other forgettable garbage Star Wars has put out. It's not like, this definitely isn't as good as like Andor or Mandalorian season 1, season 2, but it could have been worse, is what I thought. Episode 3, I didn't like. I think mostly because I really didn't think the child acting was very good at all, and it was just, it felt so emotionless because the child acting was not very. But I will say, episode 3 so far is still the worst. Watching 6, episode 3 is still the worst to me. Definitely my least favorite. And I don't think the show is that bad. But I like the episodes after episode 3 more than I do like the first 3. So the first 3 are down. I'm not going to say much about it. I do think it's crazy that people are getting super mad about the show when it's like, there was not this kind of uprising against like Mandalorian season 3 or even the Boba Fett show or the Obi-Wan show. Like, it was like, I think all those shows were worse and we're a lot less risky too. Like, I think Acolyte's at least trying to do something, and I think there are good things that it is doing, and I think it is at least adding something to the Star Wars universe instead of just like bringing back old characters and then half-assing it. So I think it's more respectable, and I think people are only freaking out for obvious reasons, you know? Like, I think people are only freaking out because it's like, oh, Star Wars gone woke, Disney gone woke. The Rebels are based off the Viet Cong. What are you talking about? It's gone woke. Huh? That's crazy. Like, that's crazy. The problem is it hasn't gone woke enough. That's the problem. The problem with Star Wars currently is it's not woke enough. It's not, like, actually politically woke enough. And it's also not political anymore. Star Wars used to be so political, and then once it got to Disney, it stopped being political. And that's a problem. Because that's what makes Star Wars interesting. And it also ruins the world building. And the reason why Andor works is because it's political. That's the reason why Andor works. Not the entire reason, but that is the difference between Andor and every other thing that Disney has made. And the reason why Andor is much more respected and actually liked. Because it actually feels like a successor to what George Lucas was doing with Star Wars. And actually adds something that feels like Star Wars and is interesting to Star Wars. Instead of just like I don't know, like Star Wars is not really about Jedis. Like Jedis are in it, but like Star Wars is so much more about like politics. And like, well, I mean, the original trilogy is about overthrowing the Empire. Like, that's the entire point. Freaking out about like Star Wars going woke with The Acolyte is crazy. Cause what the fuck were you watching before? I don't know. This is a whole other conversation. But Star Wars fans are stupid. Star Wars fans are 80. Like, there's also aliens. Like, I feel like Star Wars fans will be like, how dare they have, oh, you're telling me that they have, the main character is black, and there's also one of the other main characters who's Asian? What? But then an alien will be there, and they'll be like, now we're talking. So we can have aliens, but we can't have, you know, people who actually exist in real life. That's crazy. This is a whole other Star Wars fans are crazy. Star Wars discourse is always off. And I wish liking Star Wars was more fun. But liking Star Wars nowadays is not very fun because it's always awful to talk about Star Wars with any Star Wars fans. But anyways, hopefully those Star Wars fans are not here. If you are one of those Star Wars fans, go away. I mean, I'm not talking about any Star Wars fans. I'm talking about the specific Star Wars fans. You know, other people, you're welcome here. I mean, the other people are welcome here too. I'm just gonna make fun of you, and you just have to accept that. Okay? I hope that's okay. Number 13, Playland. I went to Playland. If you don't know what this is actually, I don't know if it's called the Peony right now or not. It's like an amusement park in Vancouver. It's a kind of lame amusement park. Like, it really does not have much going for it, especially right now because they got rid of one of the 2 roller coasters, and then they're going to have a new one eventually, but then it'll still just be 2 roller coasters, and then a bunch of like spinny rides. They also got rid of some of my favorite rides too, like even some of the spinny ones. There's just not a lot going on there. And I also had a broken wrist while I was there, so that was not very fun. But it's okay, and I had a good time. But if I were to talk about Playland specifically as Playland, like by itself, I never really, even as a kid, I have cared too much about Playland. You know, like, I've never really been desperate to go to Playland. Cultist like water slides is great. If you don't know what that is, it's great. If you want to go to something in the general Vancouver area, I mean, Cultist is a little bit too out. Definitely not the Vancouver area, but not that far away. But it definitely is so much more fun and so much better than Playland. So do that instead. If you would like to do something like that. The lower mainland of BC. Go there, don't go to Playland. Kinda lame. But you can have fun there. But like Playland, I just think is really not that exciting. You know, there's really not a whole lot going for it. Number 12, Megan by Megan Thee Stallion. I was really excited for this album because I like Megan Thee Stallion, and I do actually think that she's an extremely underrated rapper. 100%, I think she's one of the most consistent rappers, and I don't think that she gets the appreciation that she should for obvious reasons. Part of it is probably because, like, so many rappers were talking about how oh, she's lying about getting shot. Oh, free Tory Lanez. It was Tory Lanez, right? I think it was, yeah. And just all the hate that she got launched at her for, lying about being shot, even though, a jury decided that she was not lying about it and that he did do it. She gets an unnecessary amount of hate, especially for how consistently good her rapping is. One thing I don't think is consistently good, though, her beats sometimes. I think that it can just be I would just like to see her on a little bit better production sometimes. Sometimes it's just not that great. I think there's some songs. I really like Hiss. I like, I can't remember any of the names. The final song, the one that I think was the first single, one of the snake names. I think it also had a snake name. I forget what the name was. But, I think it's a solid album. It's a decent album. And I just there just wasn't enough that really was standing out to me in terms of especially sonically. But I do think her rapping was consistently good on every single song. And I just wish the production was helping her out a little bit more. I wish the production was just doing more. So that's that album. I recommend checking it out. I mean, I think everyone should keep up with what Meg Thee Stallion's doing. She's doing great work, so everyone should keep up with that. Number 11, Nep's Storybook by Nep. This is a person that you'd probably recognize from some popular songs on, I don't know if they're popular on TikTok. I'm assuming so, but I never go on TikTok. But I know that her, the reason why I listened to her album was because her, Instagram Reels would show up all the time, and those do very well. So, probably someone who've heard one of her songs through, an Instagram Reel or a TikTok or something like that. And it was a very cute little project thing. It was very cute. I highly recommend, if you want some good kind of indie stuff, I think it's very interesting. I think there's very interesting things that she's trying to do lots of the time, and I quite liked it. I thought it was fun. I haven't returned to it really, but I would say it was quite fun. I would return to it. I would listen to it. I just haven't really, but I do think it's good. And I think it's worth checking out. Number 10, Petals to Thorns by David. My friend Ethan, who you probably have seen on this channel, he really likes David and really likes this project. And I listened to it with him, and it was kind of beautiful. I was going on a nice little walk. It was a little overcast, little rainy kind of day. This was before I broke my wrist, I'm pretty sure. I think it was, because I remember being in less pain while walking. So I think it was before I broke my wrist. So that always gives it a little boost because it was fun. And yeah, I think if you want some good pop music, I think David's making pretty great music. So I also recommend checking out David. Next, number 9, No Hands by Joey Valance and Bray. This is a very fun album. I would imagine some people have also probably seen this through Instagram or TikTok or something like that, or at least some of it. But I mean, they're just making very fun music. If you just want to have a fun time, this album is a great album to listen to while having a very fun time. There's not much I have to say about it. Really, that's it. So, number 8, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me by The Cure. I listened to this album on a train, so my thoughts on it are going to be very nothing because I don't really remember, because it was kind of just something I was listening to while I was there. But the vibe was nice. I listened to it and enjoyed it, and that's all I really remember, and not much else, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But it's still on the list, so I had to talk about it a little bit. But this is where I would generally, use what I had said just before this and what I'm about to say now, and judge my passion on those two. This is between those two, so that gives you an idea of how I feel about it. But can I give you actual thoughts on it? Not really, because I don't really remember listening to it, because I just was on a train heading home, just with it in my AirPods, just in the background while I was doing that. So yeah, it was my first The Cure album, and I liked it. Maybe listen to more of The Cure. I don't think it's really anything that I think I'm become a mega fan of. That's just more of a personal taste. I'm not even really thinking it's bad or anything about the quality of it. It's just something that I never feel that passionate about listening to, as you can tell by my lack of thoughts on it. Number 7, releasing 4 songs and music videos in 1 month. I also did a feature. These songs include Running by Dayton King, Do You Know How Tiny You Are by Dayton King, I'm Feeling Pretty Today by Dayton King, which came out on my birthday, and Artichoke by Dayton King. And all of those songs you can find on wherever you like music. you know, you can find them wherever you like music. And me doing this month, doing all these songs and stuff like that, was a lot. Because if you don't know, I'm so tired. I released an album in April, and right after that, I have other music I've been working on for a long time. But before I get to that kind of stuff, because that stuff is not going to be very fun. Well, it'll be fun, but it's very emotional and very personal and very vulnerable. Before I got to that stuff, I wanted to just kind of take a moment to just have a bunch of fun, because it'll be a while. Because once I move on to what I'm doing next, that will take up a long time. Because will be probably, hopefully, the biggest thing I ever do. The most, well, not ever, but like the biggest thing I've ever done to this point. And the thing that I am the most passionate about. So I want to live in my next thing a lot. So I knew that I was once I start really getting into that, then I'm gonna be stuck there for a while. So I wanted to just have fun for a minute. And so my plan was, I was like, what if I released one song every week for a month? Because also usually I will like do a lot of promo before I release anything. And I was like, what if I just release a song without any promo once a week, every week, kind of just build off the momentum that I have for my album. And I was like, what if I also have a video to each one of them? And I was like, I'll make them more like visualizers, like lyric videos, because that would be much easier for me to do. I make a couple of them. I made 2 of them, had recorded a 3rd, hadn't done anything for a 4th one of them. Then I break my wrist. And video editing and filming gets a lot harder, because I was doing almost all of this by myself, besides my friend helped me film one of the videos. But outside of that, I was doing all of it by myself. And doing that with one less hand became a lot harder. So that became a struggle. That's why I have my own music this low. Is mainly just because it became so exhausting. Because I also, all these songs too, I only started making in like May. So like, I was still finishing the songs at the beginning of this month. Like, I was still double checking that things were like actually sounding good, like right before they were coming out. So it was definitely like I was working on a much faster timeline than I usually do. And I also usually never give myself like a deadline. I usually just wait till I'm like, okay, this is perfect, this is how I want it to be. Now I'm ready to release it. This time I was like, no, I have a deadline. All these songs are coming out in June, because I wanted June just felt right to me. With stuff I have planned in the future, I have a rough idea of when I want that to happen. So June just kind of felt like a good time to do this. And my birthday's in June. It was fun to kind of turn it into like, you know, my month. Which, in retrospect, as of right now, I think I had this thought before. I think now, thinking about it, I think it's very funny that I turned Pride Month into my month. That is very funny to me, because I did not really, think about that. But I mean, it's not like I actually was really taking any from Pride Month. No one actually cared about me. I did think it was very funny that I didn't really connect the dots, that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take over June. June is all about me now. And it was Pride Month. And that thought hadn't really crossed my mind. It's not like it's actually like a big deal or anything. But because like I don't actually have any weight to anything I'm doing. Like I do not really get much attention, so it's not that big of a deal. But it was very funny to me, and I'm happy with how everything turned out too, because I did actually manage to do it, and I did manage to make all the videos even with this. And I was literally editing one of the videos like the day after I broke my wrist. And trying to finish it, because I had to release it like the day after. So I was really, hard at work on that. I was busting my ass off trying to get all that stuff done. And it was fun though. It was very fun to release this on my birthday too. Especially the song I'm Feeling Pretty Today. That made sense to release on my birthday, which is also why I wanted to do it all in June, because my birthday fell on a Friday, and I'm like, oh, they're perfect. That's when new songs usually come out. I can release my song then, because who knows when that'll happen again. So that was fun. I'm glad that happened, and I'm happy with how this turned out. But it was a crazy month trying to do all of that, especially the broken wrist. Number 6, my birthday. I know it might start seeming like I just hate myself, because I just did my own music, then my birthday, and we still got like 5 things in front of me. But the main reason why my birthday was kind of a little lower is because I had broken my wrist, and this was only like a week after I had done it. So I was kind of in pain a little bit. Like, I was definitely still in pain in certain parts of my leg. My leg still hurt. My left wrist still hurt. this obviously is a cast, and I don't like having that. So like, I was not feeling that great. And then I had to have a job interview on my birthday that I also think I didn't get the job because of this, because I was gonna have, it was a job where I was gonna have to get wet, and so I wasn't gonna be able to do the training because of this. And I think I could have gotten the job easily if I just didn't have this, because obviously it makes no sense to choose me over someone who doesn't have a cast, because at least they can train them and they can work. Like, why would you choose me? Unless all the other people sucked. Like, it would not make much sense. So that sucked. But my birthday did have good moments to it, which was basically after the job interview. I had the job interview like 3 p.m. and then after that I went out for dinner. I went back to my house with my girlfriend, my best friend, and then we just watched a movie that I'll get to, and we listened to a couple vinyls that I had gotten that day for my birthday. I got Brat and Hit Me Hard and Soft. I got those on my birthday, and we listened to that and danced a little bit, so that was a fun time. And so that saved my birthday a little bit, but it was not off to the greatest start. And number 5, I watched the movie Rookie of the Year. Now, if you follow me on Letterboxd, which you should, here's my Letterboxd. This is my top 4 favorite movies of all time, and I may be the only person that has it there. But I think people are sleeping on this movie, and people do not understand the greatness of this movie. If you were a child who was a huge baseball fan, this was the perfect movie. It's like Home Alone, but for baseball kids. You know, like, that's the general thing. I mean, it's literally directed by that one guy from Home Alone. I think it's his only movie. And it really does feel a lot like Home Alone, like tone-wise and just like the way it works. It does feel a lot like Home Alone. But I think that's a good thing. You know, like, it has, like, I think that's in a good way. And it's a good time. It's a very goofy, silly movie, and I think it's just hard to not have a good time watching, to be honest. It's such a feel-good movie, too. There's some, like the relationship between Henry Rowan Gardner and his mom is always very cute to me. And it's just a very cute movie. Just a blast. And I love this movie so much. And then number 4, Bad Cameo by Lil Yachty and James Blake. I was very excited for this album, and it basically is exactly what I wanted, so I'm happy. Like, I really have no complaints about the album. It's exactly what I wanted. I think they could make a better album. I think they have room for improvement, and I think that there's something they could make that I would like more than this. But in terms of what I wanted from a James Blake and Lil Yachty collab album, this is about everything I wanted. So thank you, James Blake. Thank you, Lil Yachty. I am a satisfied customer. So thank you. Number 3, King of the Hill. I started watching King of the Hill. This will come into play in a future video that I'm doing. King of the Hill, I did not think I would like. I'm gonna be 100% honest. From remembering other people watching it when I was a kid, I was like, this show is not gonna be for me. But this show is so funny to me. This show is so funny to me. This is easily like the most that I've ever laughed at any kind of, like, you know, adult animation like comedy show thing. Like, you know, like your Family Guys and stuff like that. Like, this is easily the most I've ever laughed at one. And definitely the one that I find the funniest. And so I've been really enjoying it. I've been watching it a little bit. And I'm excited to do the video that I have planned for this. It's going to be very fun. But number 2, Fast Tracks 3 by 454. Or 454, or however you say it. This album's incredible. I love this album. My first listen, I was obsessed with it. Shout out to Rob Apollo. If you don't know Rob Apollo's great. Go follow Rob Apollo. I love him. But he, I think, shared someone's Instagram post to a story about, like, people don't get something about his favorite artist just means 454. And I was like, really? Interesting. I've never listened to 454 besides this one Denzel Curry feature. And so I was like, let me see what's up. And oh my god, this shit's incredible. It's so good. It's so fun. I had a blast. And I highly recommend, like, this is one of the highest recommendations I can give. Please listen to this album. It is awesome. Now, number 1, Brat by Charlie XCX. This was definitely bound to be my number one album of the year, not the year, but of this month. I mean, it was the perfect, obviously the perfect month for it to come out. Everything about the rollout was perfect. The album came out, it's fantastic. I cried multiple times listening to it, which I did not expect. It wasn't even something I was asking for from this album, but it made me cry. It's given me some of the most fun songs to listen to. It puts me in a much better mood all the time if I skip certain songs that make me cry. But it's so great. And then especially like the Girls So Confusing Lord remix, also big shout out to that. That's incredible. The deluxe, like the extra 3 songs, like Guess is incredible. Hello Goodbye is great. People like Spring Breakers more than I do, but I understand why people like Spring Breakers. And it's not like I dislike Spring Breakers. It's more like middle of the road for that album than anything for me. Like, it's not one of the standouts to me, even though it seems like it's kind of one of the standouts to lots of people. But obviously, Everything Is Romantic is incredible. That's the best Charlie XCX song. It has to be. It's so good. It's incredible. I Might Say Something Stupid made me cry. So I made me cry. Incredible songs. This album is just fantastic. I mean, I don't really need to recommend you this album. If you want to listen to this album, you've already listened to it. I would be shocked if you want to listen to this album and you're like, wait, that new Charlie XCX album came out? Like, I don't need to tell you about this. So go listen to it, even if you have. It's great, and I'm so happy that it is. I don't know if it's my favorite Charlie album. I think How I'm Feeling Now is still my favorite Charlie album, but it's a lot closer than I thought it would be. You know, like, I didn't think that it was gonna get close in terms of which one was my fave. I think that says a lot. And I also think that brings us to the end of this video. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, I don't know if I've actually described my feelings very well on anything in this video. And I don't even know if I informed you on any information of my month. And I don't think that I actually said anything of value. But I had a good time doing it, and it was nice seeing you, and I'll talk to you later.